Samson and Delilah. The story of Samson begins long before his encounter with Delilah, in a time when Israel once again turned away from God. The people fell into sin, and the Lord allowed the Philistines to rule over them. It was during this season of oppression that God prepared to raise a deliverer, one whose life would be marked by extraordinary strength and an equally extraordinary struggle. In the region of Zorah, there lived a man named Manoah and his wife, who had long been unable to have children. One day, the angel of the Lord appeared to Manoah's wife and told her that she would conceive and bear a son. The child was to be set apart as a Nazirite from birth, dedicated wholly to God. No razor was to touch his head, and he was to drink no wine or eat anything unclean. This child, the angel said, would begin to deliver Israel from the Philistines. The promise filled the woman with awe. She ran to tell her husband, and together they prayed for guidance. The angel appeared again, and Manoah asked how they should raise the boy. The angel repeated the instructions, and Manoah prepared an offering to the Lord. As the flames rose from the altar, the angel ascended in the fire, leaving them overwhelmed with reverence. In time, the woman gave birth to a son, and they named him Samson. The Lord blessed him as he grew, and the Spirit of the Lord began to stir within him. Samson's life was marked by immense physical power, a gift from God to deliver Israel. Yet his heart often wandered, drawn by his desires more than by devotion. One day he went down to Timnah and saw a young Philistine woman. Though she was from Israel's enemy, Samson desired her as his wife. Against his parents' protests, he insisted on marrying her. On his way to meet her, a young lion attacked him, but the Spirit of the Lord came upon him with such force that he tore the lion apart with his bare hands. Later, when he returned to take her as his bride, Samson found a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. He scooped out the honey and ate it, though touching a dead body was forbidden by his Nazirite vow. At the wedding feast, Samson posed a riddle to the Philistines based on this experience. Out of the eater, something to eat; out of the strong, something sweet. Unable to solve it, they pressured his bride to coax the answer from him. Betrayed by her, Samson revealed the secret, and the Philistines answered correctly. In fury, Samson struck down 30 men to pay the wager. This was only the beginning of his turbulent relationship with the Philistines. His strength became legendary, and his feats against them were many. Yet despite his victories, Samson often allowed his passions to guide his decisions. It was this weakness that ultimately led him to Delilah. Delilah lived in the valley of Sorek. She was a woman whose beauty captivated Samson, and he loved her. The Philistine rulers, desperate to uncover the secret of his great strength, saw an opportunity. They approached Delilah with an offer of immense wealth if she could find out the source of his power and how he might be subdued. Tempted by the promise of silver, Delilah agreed. Delilah began her mission with sweet words and feigned affection. She asked Samson to reveal the secret of his strength. Samson, perhaps amused or testing her, gave her false answers. He told her that if he were bound with 7 fresh bowstrings, he would become as weak as any other man. That night, she tied him with the bowstrings, while Philistine men hid in the room. She cried out, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you!" He snapped the bowstrings as if they were threads near a flame, and his strength remained. Frustrated but undeterred, Delilah pressed him again. He told her that if he were tied with new ropes, never used before, he would become weak. She bound him with new ropes and again called out the warning. Samson broke the ropes from his arms as though they were threads. Still, she persisted, accusing him of making a fool of her. He then told her that if the 7 locks of his hair were woven into a loom, he would lose his strength. Delilah wove his hair and secured it with a pin, but when she called out, Samson awoke and pulled away with ease. Delilah's persistence grew sharper. Day after day, she nagged him, pressing him with her questions. Her constant words wore him down until his soul was vexed to death. Finally, in a moment of weakness, Samson revealed his heart. He told her that his hair had never been cut, for he was a Nazirite dedicated to God from birth. If his head was shaved, his strength would leave him, and he would be like any other man. Seeing that he had told her all his heart, Delilah sent word to the Philistine rulers. That night, as Samson lay sleeping on her lap, she called for a man to shave off the 7 locks of his hair. His strength left him, and when Delilah cried out again, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you," he awoke but did not realize that the Lord had departed from him. The Philistines seized him, gouged out his eyes, and bound him with bronze shackles. Blind and broken, Samson was taken to Gaza, where he was forced to grind grain in the prison. The mighty deliverer of Israel, who once struck terror into the hearts of his enemies, was now reduced to slavery. Yet as he labored, his hair began to grow again. In time, the Philistine rulers gathered to offer a great sacrifice to their god Dagon. They praised him, saying that their god had delivered Samson into their hands. In celebration, they brought Samson out of the prison to entertain them. The blind judge was led into the temple, where about 3,000 men and women, including the rulers, watched from the roof. Samson asked the servant who led him by the hand to place him between the pillars that supported the temple. Standing there, he prayed to the Lord. "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Strengthen me just once more, that I may avenge myself on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." With his hands on the 2 central pillars, Samson pushed with all his might. The temple collapsed upon the rulers and all the people in it. In his death, he killed more Philistines than he had in his life. The story of Samson and Delilah is more than a tale of strength and betrayal. It is a sobering reminder of how gifts from God can be squandered when human weakness rules the heart. Samson was chosen before birth, blessed with extraordinary power to deliver Israel, yet his lack of discipline and his surrender to temptation led to his downfall. Delilah's role in the story highlights the power of temptation and betrayal. Her persistence and cunning brought low the man who was feared by nations. The silver she gained stands in contrast to the life she destroyed, showing the emptiness of greed compared to the weight of loyalty and truth. Yet even in Samson's failure, God's purpose prevailed. Through his final act, Samson struck a decisive blow against Israel's enemies. His story demonstrates that even in brokenness, God can work through those who return to him. Samson's prayer in the temple shows a man humbled, no longer boasting in his own strength, but relying on God alone. The legacy of Samson is one of warning and hope. It warns of the dangers of yielding to desire and carelessness with the sacred calling of God. It also offers hope, showing that God does not abandon his people even when they falter. In Samson's final moment, strength was restored not because of his hair, but because of God's mercy. The story of Samson and Delilah echoes across time as a call to vigilance, faithfulness, and reliance on the Lord. Strength apart from God is fragile, but when given back to him, even in weakness, it can accomplish his purposes.